I'm really excited to share with you my picks for the year 2025, my favorites, but I want to do it with a little bit of a twist this year. So I have 12 plants, one for each particular month of the year. So we're going to start with January, and whatever plant that I feel like brought me the most joy that month, or maybe a plant that I recently chopped that I spent a lot of time with that month, I want to share or showcase a particular plant that corresponds with that month. And I'm going to go around to the spot because I do have some plants that aren't in my main plant room here. But before I get started, I wanted to give a big thank you to each and every one of you who continue to watch my videos and support my channel. I'm truly grateful. I love being able to be here and to share with you. And also my apologies for the shite lighting today. It is very rainy and gloomy and it is very dark, so I'm going to do my best. This video will be up before the holiday time, so if you're watching this before Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays if you celebrate, and Happy New Year. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. I really hope you enjoy my favorites for the year, and let's get started with January. So for the month of January, I have this huge Monstera tree in the corner of my plant room. She is as tall as me. That's crazy. She's taller than me. Her top leaves are way over my head. This is my Monstera albo, well, one of many Monstera albos, but I'm going to give the month of January to her because it's been about a year, actually, not quite, since I chopped her. So this Monstera has been with me for a long time, but she wasn't always like this big and full and beautiful. Look at her. So I had this plant, I had restarted her, I think a couple summers ago. And so I added 2 cuttings into a pot of pon, and she grew up a very tall, clear pole support, like 4 layers, I think. She was massive. And then last December, towards the end of December, beginning of January, I decided to chop the plant, and I have a whole video on that. I basically chopped the top section and stuck that top part directly into pon. The leaves at the top of the pole were pretty big, so when I actually cut and replanted that top section, I was just surprised at how big she was already. And I didn't know for sure how she was going to react because I didn't really have enough roots. So the support that she was on didn't have any moss in it. It was just air roots. And so I decided to take my chance and stick her directly into pon, and she rooted right up and started taking off from there. So this is all the growth in about a year since I did that. So she's in a big thing of pon down there. I think that planter is a 10 by 11, and I have a cocoa coir pole in the middle for support. And so there's 2 vines that climb up that support pole. I have one that gives some pretty white leaves, like the variegation. It's kind of every other leaf. Like the one after this was actually this one here, which is all green. Funny enough, it went from like fully variegated to all green. And then I have another cutting that's more on the green side that does give me a lot of green. So it's like I have a regular Deliciosa in here as well as a Monstera albo, which I do love. So like I said, she's been in this pot for about a year, and I actually went to flush her the other day, actually last week or this past weekend, and I had tried to lift her out of the container. I had to go recruit my husband because I couldn't lift her up. What's happening is the roots there's so many roots, it just like stuck to the bottom of the planter, and I couldn't like get her out of there. So I was able to flush her and get her back in her container, but yeah, she's going to need an upsize. She probably already needs an upsize, honestly. She's still producing like some pretty large leaves. So I feel like she probably could wait a little bit, but she's definitely going to need a repot here. And she's starting to lean a little as well. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 cocoa coir poles stacked on each other. And I have a couple stakes as well to kind of like lift her or like lean her. But she's wanting to lean a little bit this way, like towards me. I think it's because where I'm standing, I normally keep a grow light like right here facing her. So I think she's leaning into it. And then I also have an overhead light up above. So she gets light from 2 different directions. And then obviously like the window is right here as well. So whenever it is sunny and there's enough light coming in, she will get light from that as well. But she mostly gets grow lights. There's plenty of room for her to keep growing, and I think I will let her grow for this entire next year. I'll just get her repotted, hopefully sometime between now and spring. Just gently upsize her in a bigger container upon, and then I'll let her grow all throughout next year. I think it would be really cool if I could get flowers, like get a bloom on a Monstera deliciosa in this plant room. I have had plenty of plants actually bloom in here. Minus like Alocasia, I've had a Philodendron bloom. I had my Monstera adansonii bloom in here, which was pretty cool. It'd be cool to get Monstera deliciosa blooms. So I'll see how she does over spring and summer in here, because those months it gets really warm and hot consistently, but it's those stable, warm conditions that really accelerate growth. So I'm excited to see her grow more, and I'll let her grow until she reaches the ceiling probably, and then I'll have to think about chopping her back a bit. But yeah, she has been an absolute favorite to watch grow. I love Monstera. Monstera albo was like my first true love. It's what started my obsession with it started my obsession with like more rare houseplants, because back then when I got my first Monstera albo, that's what started me down the rabbit hole of like rare plants in a way. Back then they were considered rare. And then this one here has been an absolute favorite. This albo is the sentimental one. This is a continuation from the plant that I initially received back in the day from my husband. And so she's very white, and I just cannot wait to see her get bigger and bigger leaves. I just have her on a stake, and the newest leaf is very white and beautiful. I love this albo so much. I love this one. Actually, this one's more sentimental than her, but she's the biggest, and so I just love them all. But I'm really excited to see her grow for next year. I just wanted to show you this one. But if any of you remember watching the journey on that plant and everything, when I first moved in here in 2022, she finally produced her first leaf after a year and a half, and I was so excited. And then I had to restart her a couple years ago, and so it's taken a little bit for her to actually grow, but now she's actually steadily growing. Look, she's even gripping the stake. Do you see that with her air root right there? She's gripped around it. That's so funny. It's like a little ring. But yeah, I love Monstera albo. So I'm giving February to Philodendron Pink Princess. I'm always going to love this plant and have at least one of these in my collection at all times. So February, looking back, I had several pink princesses. So initially in my collection, I had 2. They were in my collection since 2021 timeframe. I had gotten one locally as a cutting from somebody's collection, and the other one I found on a marketplace back in the day. They both had a fairly good genetics, and to this day I actually don't remember which one is which, because I had chopped them back so many times to make propagations. So I'll show you how they're looking now, and then once they get tall I will chop them back, restart it, and make a bunch of propagations. But this one here is throwing a lot of pink, so I am worried that it's going full pink, so I might have to chop it back sooner than later. But this one is right now definitely throwing more pink than the other one. But I love her. So the latest leaf is all pink right here. And then she's working on a new leaf that looks to be all pink. And she's got some like half moon leaves. This one here especially, this one's my favorite because half moon leaves are just to die for. And she's got some other leaves that have like a mix of pink and green. But I would say she's pretty highly variegated, and the stem and petioles are just so pretty. I love the like hot pink on the stems. Do you see that? This one is crispy. Let's remove that little sheath there. So yeah, that's what she's looking like. I love this one, like I said, and right now I don't have any support. I'll just add a stake in here because she's starting to lean a little bit, so I'll get her supported, and she's in a thing of pon. I had tried growing Pink Princess not in pon, and I didn't have the best luck, but maybe I should try again because the propagations, I have no problem growing those in like a soil mix now. But I kept rotting them, but ever since I moved to pon, I'm a lot better about not rotting them because the roots are so fine. But yeah, that is her. And then here is, I like to call her sister, her sibling. And she's about the same size, but she's still pretty pink. She's got some really good color there. I will say one of them, I think it's this one, the leaves, I feel like the green is a little bit darker. I know there's like a cherry version that has more of like a burgundy colored leaf, but I feel like the green on this one is a little bit more darker compared to the other one. Maybe, but still she has a good amount of pink on her stem and everything. So I don't know which one of these, like I said, came from which plant back in the day. But they're both very beautiful, very good genetics. Here's another half moon. I also have a red Anderson, which I love, that I will chop back here in the new year at some point. But I really love the lighter pink on that one. But again, same thing. I don't have any support in here, but I need to because she's starting to get tall. I'll just throw a stake in there. And when I had her pretty tall, I think I just had a stake, like a 4-foot garden stake, and then I had chopped that one all the way back. But yeah, I will not hate on the Pink Princesses. They're just pretty plants, and they're a favorite for this year, especially with, I feel like recently in the past few months, they've really, I feel like they've grown a lot of beautiful leaves and they're getting taller again. So probably midsummer. I'll see how they grow over this winter season. By like March, I'll see how they're growing. I may end up chopping at least one of them back, which may end up being this one if she continues the all pink route. I may have to behead her, so she might be getting chopped in a few more months. So that is my favorite for February. I am giving March to my mint monsteras. So I have the big dark green jungle mint that is reverting, and then I have the other mint here. They're both non-TCs. It's hard to really pick favorites between the two of them, honestly, because I love them both so much in their own different ways. I feel like if the jungle mint wasn't reverting, then it'd hands down be the jungle mint, but because she's reverting, I'm a little bit sad because I really wanted those really minty leaves, you know, the bottom half, as to where she was having a lot of those half moon tones. She had a half moon leaf that was extremely beautiful. She was doing a half moon leaf pattern for a while, and she has some very beautiful leaves down here, but each new leaf since, it's just gotten less and less variegation. And these leaves are a lot bigger than Deliciosa. Like, they're huge compared to her over there. The fenestrations are a bit different as well. I don't have any secondary fenestrations. I'm not sure if this one would get them because of the way that it grows. I feel like if I were maybe to blast it with more light, it possibly could get secondary fenestrations. But like this one here, this leaf is huge. But the most recent one, there is a tiny, tiny bit of variegation here at the bottom. But yeah, she's pretty much reverted. The stem pretty much has lost all of its variegation as well. So sadly, I am going to be chopping her. I think I'm going to wait until sometime in the new year. I don't know if it'll be before spring, but I am going to chop her back to restart her. So I'll have like the top growth, which will pretty much, I think, continue to grow all green. I'll probably just pluck that in water, honestly, and then I'll chop her back probably to like the last few nodes, few leaves, and then I'll have all these mid cuttings, and then I'm gonna see what the bottom growth does when I restart it, and I'll have a bunch of cuttings to grow out too. But I would say March was the time, like end of February, beginning of March, where she was really starting to grow. So I got this plant in August of 24. So this is about a year, not quite a year and a half. I would say a year and August, September, October, November, December, like a year and 4 months of growth, which is crazy. I got the plant, I think it had 3 leaves when I unboxed it, and it's crazy that it's grown into this massive plant. She's beautiful. I'm definitely going to be sad to chop her, but it's time though, because sometimes you just have to restart them. At least that's how I feel, because if I let all my plants overgrow and get huge, it's just too many leaves, too many big plants, and I start to feel stressed out because they just get too overwhelming. But it'll be good. I'll be able to restart her and make some smaller plants and see what she does. And then the more minty one I got later. Did I get that one earlier in the year or later that year? I'll have to look back, I don't remember. But the coloring on her, I really love. Let me move this light before I make it fall. So based on her coloring, I love the tones on this mint Monstera so much. This newest leaf has like a section of all green. I just think that coloration is so beautiful. And then obviously the ones that are more minty, like that one. This entire plant is just absolutely beautiful. But yeah, I got her, when I got her, she had the 2 leaves, and so she's just now starting to take off and grow. I do feel like she's growing like pretty steadily, maybe a little bit slower than the jungle mint. Honestly, she might be growing about the same as the jungle mint speed. She's just a lot smaller because I've had her for less time, but the newest leaf has gotten bigger on her. But I won't be chopping her anytime soon. I'm gonna let her grow and get big and beautiful. So yeah, I'm not chopping her, but I will be chopping jungle mint. But yeah, I wanted to include them both because it's always so hard to decide between the 2 of them, like which one I like more. But yeah, I feel like if jungle mint was more minty, I think that one would probably be my favorite because again, I love the larger leaves on that plant. But yeah, unfortunately, it'll be time to chop her here soon. But yeah, we'll do the mint monsteras for March. All right, for the month of April, I'm going to give it to my Monstera Burl Marks Flame. So in April, I had grown the plant to the top of its support, and I had air layered the top section, and I chopped it, propped the rest of the plant up, replanted the top portion. And so during that time, I was starting to get a little bit more fenestrations and just really excited to see this plant grow and mature more. And so now 8 months later, since then, I can show you like the full progress since I did that. And so I am getting ready to chop her soon. Again, sometime between the new year and spring, I want to do the same thing. I want to propagate the top section, replant it, chop the rest of the plant up, and then have my top section really get huge and even more mature. So I'm hoping I can pretty much replicate the same process. But she has grown huge. She's actually in my window. It's a plant that I keep here right next to the window. So the only light that she gets is the southern light exposure when it's a sunny day. Sometimes in winter it's really gloomy. So it depends on the day. Some days she gets more direct sun on her leaves. Other days she gets hardly any sun, but she seems to do well in the window space. I can tell she's definitely rooted and ready to get chopped though. It is time. She has grown above the cococorpal. So again, here is like a picture of what she looked like in April and you know, her growth at that time. And then let me show you what she looks like now. Okay, you can actually see the same set of leaves. So in April, this is what she had looked like. And she has grown, let me step back a little bit more. She has grown all of this since in 8 months. I feel like that's a lot of growth for Monstera. I know it's a slow grower, but I feel like it's still decent to get that many leaves in 8 months. So basically like a leaf a month. This one here is the newest one, and it just unfurled. I would say it just like fully hardened a couple weeks ago. But you can see how big she is. I mean, come on, look at this plant. How can you not love this plant? Right? It's so cool. I love the fenestrations, and I love the back. You can't see, but the back, the veining is my favorite. Oh, let me turn her around so you can see. What the back of the leaves look like. Like, look at that. That is so cool. I adore this Monstera so much. She's definitely ready to be chopped. So this is her extended. That's how much she's grown past. You can see all these crazy roots here. They have gripped onto the coco coir pole pretty well, I feel like. We have some down here that have clinged. I have put some of the roots back down into the pond for more support, and then some of these are starting to grow a bit crazy now that I don't have any support. Oh, look at that root. What the heck? This thing's so chunky. Look at that one. Look how big that thing is. What the heck? But yeah, I love this plant. I had seen a variegated one. I think an Hoya variegated. Was it last month on social media? And could you imagine like a variegated burl marks flame? I don't know if that would ever be accessible, but it would be gorgeous to have a mature one that's variegated. She's definitely been a favorite. I've included her, and I feel like so many of my favorites for this year. Just an all-around beautiful plant. This was grown from tissue culture, and I know they're a lot more affordable nowadays, and you can find them at your local big box stores, which is just crazy. I definitely feel like if you love Monstera, you are not going to be disappointed. I feel like you definitely have to have some patience, but it's worth it. And I cannot wait to get more fenestrations and more leaves that look like this. So yeah, when it's time to chop, I'll probably do right under this mass of aerial roots here. I'll probably do like a chop here and include like maybe 4 or 5 leaves, replant and chop her all the way up. So yeah, she will look different in the springtime, but I'm excited to continue growing her. But yeah, she's beautiful. So I had to include her for a favorite for this year. Moving into May, May was a very emotional month in the sense that I decided to get rid of all of my moss poles. I made a couple videos on that and shared the progress and the process of me doing all that. And if you would still like an update on the moss poles, like how the plants are doing now, let me know. I mentioned in the last video that I would do another video at the end of the year just to give you one last final update on some of them. So if you still want that, leave a comment and let me know, because I did end up officially downsizing some of those plants, meaning I'm not going to grow them as a mother plant anymore. But some are doing very well, and I'm going to show you one of those next because I feel like I had to give May to my moss poles because it was such a long journey. It's crazy looking back how long my plant journey was dedicated to growing these big plants up sphagnum moss poles. And to think that I don't have a single moss pole in my collection anymore is crazy, because I had 37 at one point. I feel like for me, I just dove into so many different plant species, varieties. I was obsessed with big leaves and growing huge plants. I feel like each year I kind of, I guess, transition into a different phase of growing, and I'm into different plants than I was back then, and it's just we all grow and change, and that's okay. It was a big part of my plant journey, and it taught me so much. I did get a question the other day, and that was, do I miss them? And the answer is no. I mean, I miss the plants in the sense that I loved coming in here and seeing huge leaves and the progress, but I can still get, you know, beautiful growth not growing on a sphagnum moss pole. It's just I don't miss the constant watering and the chopping because they grow so quickly, and I just got so busy that it was really hard to maintain them anymore. I was always underwatering them. I felt bad. I hated coming in here trying to get through watering because they were so compacted to the point that I just couldn't hydrate them. It was like an all-day process coming in here trying to fill up the little globes more, and they just kept leaking on the floor because the moss was so dry. I can't believe I did that for so long, but I'm happy for that phase of my plant journey, but I have moved on from it, and for the better. I don't miss the mess and the chaos, and I think the final straw for me is the ant situation that happened with my poles. I just couldn't deal with it anymore. That whole thing last summer and fall, yeah, it was too much for me. I'm like, you know what? Having ants in my moss poles, I just can't deal with it anymore. So yeah, but I am going to dedicate May to moss poles, and I'm going to only show you one today because this one is doing fairly well, and I feel like out of all the poles that I chopped, this one didn't even take any kind of setback or anything. It's just continued to grow well. And that one is a Philodendron sodiroi. Look at how beautiful, right? She is as happy as can be. So I have fallen out of love with a lot of philodendron. It's so sad, I know. I really loved them at one point. Honestly, I feel like they were a favorite genus of mine, other than Monstera, for the longest time. And a lot of my moss poles did consist of philodendron. I think I just fell out of the size that they can grow to. Even just growing philodendron, just not on a pole, they're just, so many of them climb and require that support that unless you have a ton of space for climbing plants, like they really can take over. So I feel like I just fell out of love with the sense of a ton of tall climbing plants. I really had to make a decision on which ones I wanted to keep and which ones I didn't want to keep. So this one here is sodiroi, Philodendron sodiroi. And I love this one because, one, I love the heart-shaped leaves, but I love the silver on this plant. And this one also has a beautiful backside. It has a red, like a red petiole towards the top, and the veining is red. The only downside with this plant and with a lot of philodendron are EFNs, or extra floral nectaries. This was the culprit plant that decided to bring ants to, well, I have a few of them, but this is one of them that decided to bring ants into my plant room. I would say out of all the philodendron, she's probably like one of my green foreign philodendrons. She's probably one of my favorites because of how easygoing she is. So I chopped her, I stuck her right into pond from the moss pole, and she's done well ever since. She's still in the same pot, and I would say her stem isn't like super spaced out. It's pretty compact for a philodendron. You know, sometimes the internodal spacing can get pretty long. So I feel like that keeps her more compact and bushy than some other philodendron that can climb and the spacing be huge. And so I like the more compact look to her. And she's maintained some pretty large leaves, like that's the newest one. And she's getting ready to push actually another one there in the middle. But yeah, I just kind of have her supported on the cocoa core pole. She doesn't really grow into it, I would say. It's not like Monstera where it'll definitely like cling onto the pole. It's more just for support. She did grow into the moss pole though when I had her on the pole, but I feel like the leaf size, I really didn't get that much bigger leaf size on a pole. This one was at the top of the pole, like that one's pretty big, and that one was at the top of the pole. But even the newest one is still pretty big, so I would say you definitely don't need a moss pole for bigger leaves on some of these guys. But yeah, she did really well post-chop. I will probably keep her for a while, but if there ever gets to be a point where ants were to make their way in here and it clung onto this plant again, like if it was attracted to this plant, I'll probably downsize it because yeah, it's frustrating when ants come in and drink the sap from the nectaries because yeah, you don't want ants in your plants. And that's when I had mealies in here too, and it was just a nightmare. It was just a horrible combination. ants farming the honeydew from the mealies. Like, I don't want to ever deal with that again. I am going to be chopping back another philodendron that I've been growing for a while. I'll make a video and do that and share that process, which I'm kind of sad about, but it's time. My El Choco, she's been blooming nonstop, and she's gotten to a point where she's really unhappy, and I think there may be some rot as well. So I'm gonna restart that one as a small plant. But yeah, I'll film that process though. But yeah, moss pole, we'll give it to her. And then yeah, let me know if you want an update on all the other poles, like which ones I decided to keep, which ones I'm going to continue growing. I am though very happy I have moved on from the moss pole era. I really don't think I would make another moss pole. I don't see myself ever making like one in the future. I'm going to give Amazonica as a favorite for the month of June. So June was actually when I first got these plants in the mail. And I would say it really started my alocasia kick for this year. But I was really excited to actually own like a true pink Amazonica because the leaves are so freaking big on this plant. So I ended up getting two, which are both right here. This one is a little bit smaller, and it took a little bit longer to grow compared to this one. I feel like this one took off quicker. Surprisingly, they both held up pretty well. So unfortunately, they can no longer be in the cabinet behind them because they outgrew it. So in this spot here, they're not really getting a ton of light. And so because of that, I feel like they've been a little stagnant. They haven't pushed a new leaf in a while. I think this one is still the same as it's been for the past few months, along with this one. Actually, I think this one did push this leaf here behind it, but it's pretty small. You can't really see right here. But so far, I mean, I haven't noticed them declining in the sense that like they're still maintaining and holding on to their leaves. I just feel like they're not going to grow as quickly. So I don't really have a set spot because they are in front of my cabinet. I do have to move them every time I need to get in here, which is once or twice a week. I do want to find a home, like a permanent home in here for them and give them more light so they can, you know, continue to do well. I just don't really have a spot right now until I propagate and kind of rearrange in here, which is something I want to do for next year. I have so much propagating and stuff that I want to do. I was just blown away by how quickly they took off. I feel like them just being over spring and summer in this warm room, because I got them in June. They had all of June, July, August, September to really just explode in growth, and then them being in the cabinet, they just got really consistent conditions for months and months and months, and so that definitely accelerated their growth. They're both in pon. I repotted this one recently. This one's been in this container. But yeah, they are just stunning alocasias. I love the pink, and this half moon leaf is everything. They are beautiful. I do have the poly behind her, like up in here. I got her at the same time. She has done it very well. She's actually blooming for me. I don't know if you're gonna be able to make her out, but she's right there. But I feel like Amazonica is my favorite out of the poly and this one because of the larger leaves, and I love the shape and everything too. They've been fairly resistant to pests. I haven't had any issues, no spider mites or anything, which is a good thing because that would be sad if they were more prone to spider mites. I do feel like the leaves are a bit thicker, so it's not as leafy as like Michelitziana, who's extremely prone to spider mites. So that's something I love about these plants, is because of the thicker leaf. They're not as prone to getting pests, but yeah, definitely been a favorite to watch grow out all summer and stuff. But yeah, I had to showcase them for favorites for this year because I feel like they just took off and have done so well for me. So yeah, Alocasia pink Amazonica, the true Amazonica. It is 1:30 and it's like black outside because it's so gloomy today. My poor little ring light is going to work. So here in the dining area is my Anthurium shelf, and during July, that was the month that I decided to redo this space. So I had moved all my Anthuriums out of my plant room. I had probably maybe like 8 to 10 Anthurium that I've had for a bit, like Crystallina, Magnificum, Forgetii, some of the original ones that I've had. And I got into Anthurium, I would say, towards the end of 24, going into 25. I was someone who never really was drawn to Anthurium right away. When I started my plant collection, I just got into so many plants that I feel like Anthurium didn't really start until later for me. Now that I am at the end of 25, I've kind of fallen off the Anthurium. I know. I still love them, but I'm not as into them as I once was. I don't really care to get new hybrids, or I'm not really searching for Anthurium or looking for Anthurium. I've gotten a lot of cool hybrids in my collection and some that I really wanted, and there are some still that I want. I'm just not as obsessed with them like I was earlier this year, but that's okay. I feel like you go in phases. But yeah, I redid the space in July, and so all the Anthurium took over the shelf behind me. Out of all the Anthurium that I collected now, or have gotten for the year, I would say 2 probably are like my top ones, and it was really hard to choose between the 2, but I would say, looking back through my camera roll, I was more excited for this one here because it was a wish list Anthurium, and I feel like the emergence just make this plant what it is, and the leaf shape and the veining, and it's such an easy Anthurium, you guys. It is slow growing, but the thing that I love about it is it does not mind low humidity. So I grow my Anthuriums on the shelf behind me in whatever the ambient conditions are during the day. It's usually like 40s, 50 humidity, and over summer it definitely is warmer, but over winter it can get like upper 60s out here in the dining room. I am finding a lot of the Anthurium are getting crispy, and I don't like that. I feel like they would appreciate more humidity in a more controlled environment. Like, I feel like the ones that were in my plant room were happy, and I feel like I need to add more light here. So next year what I might do is, at some point, I'm going to go through my Anthurium collection and downsize the ones that I no longer want to keep. I do feel like I only want to keep ones that I truly do want to grow out and like breed with, and the other ones I'll probably end up letting go. But I would say, since this has been here for like 6 months or so, the only thing that I feel like they would prefer, or at least some of them, is I need more light, especially the ones that are on the top shelves. They're not getting enough. It looks bright because I have the overhead light on, but it is super dark, and some of them are getting hardly any light at all, and they're struggling. So yeah, I definitely need to change that for next year, or at least the setup a little bit. But yeah, back to the Anthurium. So the favorite one for this year is Anthurium King of Spades. This is a offshoot that I took from the mother plant, the original plant, which I have here. And she's so pretty, you guys. I love how round the specimen is, like the leaf. And of course the veining is beautiful. That was the first little leaf that came in. This one was the second one. And that was the third one. And I do have a growth point coming in right there. A lot of my Anthuriums need to be upsized and repotted. They are extremely root bound. I have been so late at taking care of some of my mother plants because I'm so busy with all the propagations that sometimes caring for my mother plants, it gets put on the back burner, and why I was, again with the moss poles, I couldn't keep up with it. So yeah, I do need to take time at some point to repot a bunch of plants, especially the Anthurium. So yeah, that is the little offshoot, and then the mother plant, and she is the mother plant. This leaf is huge. I will say I have gotten like a little like damage here, I think, as it unfurled, probably from low humidity. And actually this one over here has a little crispy spot, which could be a multitude of reasons. But for the most part, like I feel like it has tolerated being an ambient. Oh, I'm actually getting an inflow. That'll be the first inflow, and maybe a new leaf too. Oh, that's exciting. I'll try and collect pollen. Oh yeah, this one needs to be repotted. Maybe that's why I need to repot these, you guys. But yeah, I feel like this one has been a favorite. I love the emergent, how they come in super bright red. I feel like they go through being super red and then it takes a while to burn in and fully harden off to this beautiful green, like dark green color. But I love how easygoing it is, and I don't mind that they are slower growers. Like I don't mind that at all, because sometimes it's nice having plants that don't grow as quickly when you have a huge collection. But yeah, I decided to keep both of them. I couldn't part with either, but I'm excited that she's producing an inflow now. That's really exciting. It was between this and the pallies. I have two pallies. One is behind me there. I love them both, and it's one of my favorite anthuriums as well. But yeah, I feel like for this year, I think I was most excited for this one and getting this one and watching it grow out and stuff, because this one was an import, so I had to acclimate it and grow it and, you know, get it used to my conditions and everything. But now that I have it, she is beautiful. So I would say if you're looking for an anthurium that is a bit on the slower side, doesn't mind some low humidity and lighting, and I find it really easygoing, I would recommend King of Spades because it's beautiful. Come on. Stunning. Definitely a favorite anthurium. We are back in my plant room for August, and I'm giving August to this philodendron here. This is Caramel Marble. I featured her recently on my channel, and this has been, I feel like, a favorite philodendron for me all year. I adore this philodendron so much. I would say like mid-year, she really started to pump out leaves, like at the start of summer. So this one I got early in, I guess late 2024, I believe, as a small plant. She's just a little over a year old, which is crazy to think how little this plant started to how huge she is right now. Her leaves are growing up because there's a grow light right above her, so her arms are like straight like this. But if she was fanned out a little bit, you can really see all those beautiful tones. I love the variegation on mine. It's held up pretty well. It hasn't reverted or gone like full pink, but it has those beautiful tones. They harden to like a creamy color. Like the leaves are so pretty. And then when they come out, they're like a fiery red, like this new leaf here. You can see all those beautiful red, orange, dark tones. This one here is another new leaf, but it was the one before that one, and it's starting to burn in a little bit more, but you can see all those beautiful colors. Again, it's another very sappy, sticky phyllo. Look at the sap on this one. Let me show you the nectaries. Ah! Right here, do you see the sap? Like, look at that. So she unfortunately did attract ants in here in the fall, and it took a bit to get rid of them, but they're fine. They haven't been in my plant room in probably like 4 or 5 months or so, and I'm hoping that they stay away. I do need to repot her. I feel like she's going to need an upsize soon, but I do want to get her, I think, repotted and situated sometime in the spring for next year. I'm gonna let her continue growing. Like, I don't plan on like chopping her back anytime soon. And I do love that her spacing again is shorter for a philodendron. It doesn't climb very fast. So yeah, hands down a favorite plant of mine for this year. I am now over here by the Hoyas, and I'm going to dedicate September and October to Hoyas and show you 2 that are favorites. Honestly, I can make this whole video on Hoyas because I have so many favorites. I definitely have been most obsessed with Hoya lately. I've gotten so many cuttings over the past few months and plants I'm just really excited to grow out for next year. And yeah, the obsession is real. The Hoya bug hit me so bad this year. It's crazy. It's really hard to pick favorites, honestly. It really is. So I redid this entire space in October officially, but I was thinking about it even in August. In September, I decided to go out and get these red stick cabinets because I had a whole different setup for Hoyas. And again, Hoyas was another plant that I always loved, and I always had some Hoyas, but I feel like the bug didn't really hit me until like last year a little bit. And this year, I feel like it was Anthurium, and then that kind of stopped, and then it was definitely Hoya. I've been like nonstop Hoya. So I'm only going to show you two that I adore and I was so excited to get for this year. This one has been my most obsessed Hoya for me. This is Madara Snow Angel. She is slow growing, let me tell you. So I got her as a cutting. My light didn't like that. I got her late summer as a cutting, like these two leaves. And then it took her a few months to produce a growth point, which are these two leaves here in the middle. They're very creamy and white. I think it'll be a while before I get more leaves on her. I do need to water these guys soon, but I have her in a little thing of soil. I saw someone with a very mature plant of this on social media and it was just drop dead gorgeous. I can't wait for mine to grow more. But she has been one of my top plants for this year for me to get, and so excited for that one. Another one I'm going to show you is Hoya polyneura jasminka. I have a lot of different props right now, but this one by far is growing the best and the quickest. I feel like I have talked about polyneura constantly, like every favorite video. I feel like I'm showing a polyneura. But how pretty is the splash on her? I love the white, like the tones that this one is doing, especially with these new leaves. Like that one's going to be very pretty. This new set of leaves here, look at that. Look how pretty. She's got another vine over here. I have nothing negative to say about polyneura. I was so excited to get this one. I got her as a decent specimen. I felt like she had two stems and probably like 5 set of nodes each with leaves, but I don't know what happened. After I got her, she completely like shocked. I ended up propagating her sooner than I wanted, but I'm kind of glad I did because it worked out. I've gotten so much growth in the time that I've had her. I've only had her for maybe like 4 months, 5 months at most. I'll have to check back. But this literally just started from a single propagation, like one leaf. So I restarted this one node right here and then it shot out 2 growth points and then it's doing a 3rd one and a 4th one on its own, and it's just growing so quickly. It's crazy. This is probably one of my fastest growing polyneuras. Yeah, she is extremely happy. I may have to even repot her soon. I feel she's very light. I need to water her. But yeah, I don't know what happened with this plant after I got it, but I'm glad that she's happy and some of the propagations are starting to grow, some of the other ones that I have. But she is a favorite polyneura plant and I'm excited to see her grow more for next year. I'm not going to chop this one at all. I'm going to let her get full. I'll chop a different one before, sap, I must have bent her the wrong way. I'll chop my other ones before I chop this one back. I feel like earlier this year I did get some wishlist Hoya that I was so excited to get, and I still really love them. Like I said, I have so many Hoyas I could name off that I just love. But I'm gonna give it to those two because I feel like throughout the whole year, I feel like I've been obsessed with those two the most, and I was really excited to get. So I definitely had to give Hoyas 2 spots for this year. Okay, we are moving into the month of November, which was last month, and I'm going to give it to a begonia, and I'm sure you know which one because I feel like I featured this begonia a lot on my channel. It's none other than my variegated snow-capped. I actually just chopped it last month as well, or was it the beginning of this month? No, it was last month that I chopped it. I remember taking a picture because she was nice and long and trailing and beautiful. And I wanted a picture before I chopped her back, but actually she's grown back a lot now and it'll be time to chop her again soon. I still have all the propagations, they're in a bin. They're so rooted, I just need to pot them up. So I need to take a day and sit down and pot props again. She lives on this shelf right here. And so this is a mama plant. And yeah, I feel like she's grown a lot since I chopped her last. There were a couple strands that I didn't chop, this one up here and this one down here I didn't. But look at that coloring. She's such a pretty begonia. Definitely recommend this one. She does so well just growing on my plant shelf. And oh yeah, this is one that I didn't chop. I mean, look at that pretty growth. She's so pretty. Where I had chopped last, I'm starting to get some little leaves to grow in because I had chopped several of the stems back. So they're starting to produce some growth. I have another vine over here. Oh wow, look how pretty and pink that one is up here. That leaf. She's done pretty well all year. I have her in a mix of, it's mostly cocoa coir, tree fern, and perlite. There's some bark and charcoal, but it's not as chunky as like my aroid mix. And I would say she's done really well in this mix. She's in a 5-inch plant pot. And I water her about once a week in here. Definitely my favorite begonia. I got a new wishlist one a few months ago and I was going to feature that one, but I'm like, no, I technically haven't grown it for that long. And I feel like I showed her more, so I wanted to highlight her again for the year because I feel like she's my standout begonia. Oh, and I started a second plant of her, which is actually right behind me. So this was one of her propagations that I took, and she's starting to grow. So I have one main propagation that I planted, and she's now, oh, she's starting 4. So she has 4 growth points now. So there's one right here that's starting. There's this offshoot here, this one here, and then the main vine here. So I have, yeah, 4 different spots that's going to grow leaves. And look how pretty, right? So I'm excited to have a second one of her growing. That way I can prop more for next year. Ooh, look at this one. I love that like half moon almost. Ooh, she's pretty. Oh, there's another one down here. I didn't see that one. There's another growth point coming in right down there. There's a little leaf. Oh, that's exciting. She's going to be full in no time. I haven't had any issues with this begonia. It's not a pest magnet, not super finicky with humidity. Sometimes I get crisping on some leaves, but it could be like a watering inconsistency as well. Like this one feels dry, but I'm not watering my plant room for a couple more days, so she's gonna have to wait. But yeah, I definitely recommend this begonia. I've had no issues with it, and I'm not a begonia person. I feel like they don't come across as easy plants for me. Like cane begonias, I feel like I'm good with. I feel like they're easygoing, but some of the other like varieties like terrarium begonias, I am not good with. This one I definitely feel like is easygoing, but that's just my experience that I've had with this plant. Oh my gosh, I can't with those leaves. She's so pretty. But yeah, they live on the shelf, and there's a grow light in front here, so she gets some lighting from that, and she just kind of trails down and is beautiful. So I had to include her as a favorite for this year. We are now into this month of December, and I feel like I had to feature none other than Alocasia venom. I feel like this plant has just grown up huge this year. There's a dead bloom. I need to peel that. I was looking back in my camera roll, and so in April of this year, she had like 3 tiny leaves and 1 big leaf. So in 8 months, it grew to this massive, massive plant. And definitely it being in a stable environment is how I feel like it helped her hold on to so many leaves and grow so big and massive. But yeah, it's such a cool guy, a funky guy. I featured this plant so many times on my channel this year. I had to include it to be a favorite for this month. Ugh, the leaves are so pretty. One year I will get the pink venom whenever that becomes more affordable, because there's no way I could get that right now. But I think the pink venom is beautiful as well, of course. I love the little stingray tip and the waviness to the leaves. I think that's my favorite, and the pearliness and the veining. The back side is like a neon color. So pretty. She is still fitting in my Millsbo cabinet. That's where I've grown her the entire year. She's definitely appreciated the conditions, like the stable conditions in there. But hands down, one of my favorite Alocasia for the year. And I'm excited for a lot of the newer Alocasia I got recently and to grow them out for next year. I've grown several of her babies out and they're the cutest things ever. I could not feature this plant for this month. Just one of my best Alocasias of the year. And yeah, that is my top 12 plants for the year for each month. And again, there's so many more that I wanted to show, but I had to limit it to 12 because we would be here all day, especially with Alocasia and Hoya. But yeah, it's been a good year for my plants. I feel like I've had a lot of really good growth. I've had a lot of growing changes. I'm excited to next year kind of incorporate more styling with some areas. And I really want to consolidate some of my plants for this winter and really go through once I start propagating in here, thinking about downsizing some others that I no longer want to grow. I feel like sometimes I get plants because I like them in the moment, but then when I grow them out, maybe they just don't grow well for me. Maybe they're a pest magnet. I do have a wish list, especially with Hoya, but I don't plan on bringing a lot into my collection next year because I did bring so many in this year. So I'm just going to focus next year on consolidating, restyling some other areas. I would love to redo this room. And then, yeah, just focus on growing and propagating. I am really excited for that for next year. Plants just bring me so much joy and I love growing so many different varieties, so it's fun to collect different ones. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get going here. My battery is about to end. I really hope you enjoyed my favorites for this year. Thank you so much for watching and for being here. Have a good rest of your day, and I will talk to you again soon.